Welcome, welcome in to you guys and a mic. I got joined as always by Matt and Mike. And I know you guys. Just be glad you guys don't see the stuff off camera, man. It's bad in here. But anyways, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Today is week 3 of our 8-week divisional breakdown. Today we are jumping into the NFC North. Bears, Lions, Packers, and Vikings is pretty interesting division right here. I don't think we are all in agreement on everything, just based off of some of the stuff that people are throwing around before we started recording. So could be a pretty interesting episode. Also, if you're into wrestling, you guys can go ahead and look up the Triple Threat podcast that Lucky and his boys do. And also, if you like MLB, Mike and Matt do the baseball podcast without Tony, because Tony, I mean, really, he doesn't even know football, but he's that special friend that we let on here. So
baseball's the worst fucking sport in the world.
But yeah, you went to Japan and watched it.
Yeah, because it's Japan, bro. It's way better than the United States baseball.
Oh, it's because you wanted to make your boss happy.
I will agree with that.
Without being on your knees.
But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with the Chicago Bears. Now, my prediction for the Bears is probably going to be way different than everyone else. I got the Bears going 15-2. I think Justin Fields is going to absolutely blow this shit up.
No, he's fucking wrong.
Man.
You got a 1 in front of the 5. I think.
It's been so straight, too. Man.
Yeah.
I
man.
I thought I heard it.
Going with it. People would have just turned the shit off. The Bears.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, but anyway, so
they would have been talking about you being that special friend.
Yeah, I know. No kidding, huh? Anyways, I got the Bears going 6-11, guys.
5 and 12.
Yeah,
I got 6-11. Same thing.
Yeah,
same thing as Scott.
Same thing.
I think they're going to be a much better team all around this year, but they're still a long ways away from.
You can't do much worse than 3-14.
No. You can't. I mean, anytime you can double your wins, I don't care if it's from 1 to 2. Doubling your wins is doubling your wins. So that's what I got them going. I do think
Matt knows about double.
Double up.
Hey, you guys have to excuse Matt. He's a little bit in his feelings tonight. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Dude, you need to go get laid after this or something. Do whatever you go do. But anyways, what do you guys think? DJ Moore is coming aboard to help Justin Fields. David Montgomery's out. We got Khalil Herbert now starter. They a little signing at the running back position that I think went a little. It hasn't been talked about enough. Is Deontay Foreman? I thought he did really good last year for the Panthers. What do you guys think, Matt? We'll go ahead and jump with you first. First off, what do you got the Bears going? Is there any moves that you really liked? Besides, obviously, the DJ Moore, I think everyone that's a great move. Do you see anything else going on with this offense? That improve?
I got them going 6-11 this coming year. I mean, they doubled their win total from last year from 3. They just made a lot of moves that I like. Not just it's not going to be all bells and whistles. They addressed the trenches with the offensive line. They had one of the worst offensive lines last year. They drafted a guard. I want to believe a second round. They signed a guard in the offseason. So, they're trying to go about it the right way and build from the inside out. Got a couple of defensive players. Tremaine Edmonds from, Buffalo, the linebacker. He's all pro guy. And like you said, the Deontay Foreman, I mean, he tore his Achilles about 2 years ago, and now he looks like he's coming up on the up and up. If he can stay healthy along with Khalil Herbert, and, he has a couple of weapons now with DJ Moore. I like where this offense would go, but it just depends on what Fields can do in this system, the second year in system with Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsky. I mean, he has a high ceiling, but it's just his arm. The mobility's there. He's going to roll out. He's going to get loose in the pocket. It's just last year he was first in sacks. I mean, that attributed to the offensive line, not being very good, but he did hold the ball a lot. I mean, he tried to roll around, make stuff happen, and get
Darnell Wright.
Yeah,
who does have experience at 3 different spots on the offensive line. He is slotted play right tackle, but he can move around the line. I think that was a great draft on their part.
And they were 6th in run blocking and 16th in pass blocking last year. You know, the middle of the pack, but it was more of Fields just taking the sacks. He took 55 of them, the most in the NFL last year. So it comes down to his maturity in the offense and to see where this offense can go, whether they can go up or, you know, stay middle of the pack. So that's
I
what
personally believe. I don't believe in Fields whatsoever. I don't think he has it in him to become elite like everyone thought. He looks scared when he runs on the field, and it's understandable because they had one of the worst offensive lines, and I agree with everything you all just said. They beefed up the offensive line. I just feel like he gets frantic and he can't stay in the pocket. I mean, he only passed for 2,200 yards last season, and every single one of his wide receivers got like 500 or less yards, and it was because he was too busy running. And I think that's in his blood to do that. And I think you can't just take that out of him. I personally think it's hard to teach a mobile quarterback to be a pocket passer.
Yeah, they've come up many years as being mobile.
Yeah, exactly. And so you can't just expect him to be a pocket passer by beefing up his offensive line. I agree with you. They're going to be better. I have the same thing as you both, 6-11. But I just don't believe in Justin Fields. I think it's a major downgrade for DJ Moore. I feel bad for him because he's just.
I don't know about that. I mean, Carolina.
Yeah, I don't. Carolina's quarterback situation. We've already discussed that. But that's
I agree. Horrendous. I agree, but DJ Moore has so much more potential. But it's not like he went from a quarterback that was capable. He went to a quarterback that was scared or not scared. That's going to run more than pass. So we'll see what happens. Either DJ Moore does worse or stays the same. I don't think he gets better.
I think DJ Moore, when he hit 6 years in the NFL, 3 of the 6 years he's over 1,100 yards. I think he's an elite receiver. Maybe not like a top 10. I'd say like a top 15, top 18 wide receiver. You know, he's that. He has the talent, but now he has a quarterback that when the play breaks down. I mean, he didn't have that in Carolina, you know, where they have Baker Mayfield.
Can run around and
can run around, and that's DJ Moore's thing. Like he's when the play breaks down, he's gonna cut his route off and sit down the zone, whatever it is, or beat man coverage and get open for him. So I think DJ Moore can have a very good year. I'm not gonna say he's gonna have an all-time year, but I'd say a good 1,000, 1,100 yards. It's in the books for him. Now it's just the touchdowns if they can go up for him. That's
really needs his defense to step up this year. I mean, last year they most points. Last year,
463 points given up last year.
Yeah, their rushing defense was atrocious, man. They gave up 157 yards a game, which is second most in the NFL. You know, then you look at it and it's like they're middle of the pack versus the pass. But I just think that's because they're down a lot of games and you were able to run on them. So what's trying to pass for 350 when you can run for 150 to 200 yards on them?
I think Tremaine Edmonds definitely helps. That run
game.
Yeah. Mike, you got anything you want to add to this? You just over there shaking your head. Dick?
No, I have them going 5-12. I got them actually losing at one point, losing every game straight from week 3 to week 9. They play at Kansas City, they play Denver, they play at Washington, they play the Vikings, the Raiders, at the Chargers, and at the Saints.
You just said the Raiders, Mike.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure and you know what, to be honest, Mike, they could actually technically start the season off 0-9. They do play Green Bay week 1, and then they have Tampa Bay week 2. Neither of those teams are going to be slouches, so they do start the season off tough, and I think that's a good point, Mike. Between 3 and 9, they could easily not win a game. So, but I think they're still going to be a little bit too talented on the offensive side of the ball to lose to all those teams. I think they're going to get something out of it. So
I think they're going to be underrated on offense.
They might win one of those games, but it wouldn't surprise me if they lost every one of those.
They're going to be underrated on offense. Like Darnell Mooney could be a good wide receiver too. You got Claypool in the slot. I mean, he has decent weapons around with DJ Moore, and to go back to the running backs in that backfield. It's just that the defense can stay off the field. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't see Fields getting into too many shootouts and winning those. So that's where that comes into play. Hopefully they can score enough to keep up, but I doubt it. So,
yeah. What did you guys think about the Tyreek Stevenson cornerback out of Miami pick? I mean, they really need help, I think, on the defensive line of the and linebacker, but they went ahead and went with a pretty decent corner. I guess you got to start somewhere, and I think with the NFL, like even though they were really bad against the rush, the NFL is a very pass happy. Is very they now with all the new rules and the way you have to cover wide receivers. I just don't think it's a terrible idea to get your secondary in order and then work in the trenches. But if you look at like a lot of the better teams, they do start in the trenches and work their way back. Or actually, I kind of actually what it is they work in the trenches and then they work at safety and then they bring everything in like together. You cover your short, cover against the run, and then you cover against the deep pass, and then you start working your way in the middle. So we'll see what the Bears do, I guess, over the next couple of years, as far as if they're gonna try to continue to get Justin Fields help through the draft, or if they're going to work on the defensive side of the ball. Personally, I think they have enough players on the offensive side of the ball that I would probably start working on that.
Well, they're set up after that DJ Moore trade.
Yeah,
they
are set up now.
Round 2, they took a defensive tackle, and then they took a corner, and then round 3, they took another defensive tackle.
Yeah. Okay.
So they are working on the trenches.
Yeah, and that's definitely what you got to do. So I don't know. All I know is that this defense has to step up if they are going to win any more games, and they play in a division where, I mean, between the Lions and Vikings, those are two monster offensive teams. Jordan Love works out. You could argue that there's going to be 3 offenses. So
before we move on, Scotty, I was going to say, you want to talk a little bit about this backfield? And what do you think? How do you have it shaken out between Herbert and Foreman? Just splitting it up, split work 50-50?
It's a split.
It's definitely more of a split than what they had last year. Montgomery there. They really tried to give Montgomery a majority of the touches. But I think both, Herbert and Foreman are capable running backs. So I don't think they need one to have, 20 touches and the other 10. I think I could see maybe like a 13-17 split each week. Maybe whoever comes in, with the hotter hand breaking tackles is going to end up being the guy that works that game. If I had to pick which one I think is going to have the better season, I think it's going to be Herbert. He had some pretty big games where
between the 20s.
Well, and he knows
between
that,
the 20s.
He knows that
like
offense too.
Yeah. I think Foreman's going to end up he's going to get that goal line work. And like Scott said, between the 20s, Herbert has that big play ability to break one off and to get that, that big run off and to help that offense move the chains. So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting because I actually think Foreman will probably get more work inside the 20 than Herbert. I think he's kind of like how Williams was used in Detroit last year. I think Herbert get him into the red zone and maybe they swap out for Foreman, who's a little bit more of a downhill runner than Herbert. So we're how it plays out. It could go a lot of different ways, but this is an offense that I think I'm going to enjoy watching this year, and hopefully, like I said, Fields ends up maturing a little bit. So.
It's definitely going to be better than last year. Last year, they were a mess. They were an absolute mess. I'm surprised they kept all of their coaches. I mean, they changed some lower level ones, but they kept all of their coaches. So,
this is what we
even second chances, I guess.
Well, this is what we talked about, last week. Hold up, Tony. You got to give these coaches multiple years.
Opportunity.
You can't just 1-2 years. Now, I can understand. Like after 2 years, if you haven't shown any improvement, and
they go 3-13 again this year.
Yeah. Now if they
then heads are gonna roll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but if they get 6 wins, you're doubling your wins. Yeah. All right, we're in progress. I'm not expecting you to go to the playoffs, but you got progress. So let's roll. Get them a couple drafts under their belt.
And their schedule is not that easy if you really think about it. You play Green Bay, almost a playoff team last year. Vikings playoff team last year. Lions, I really thought were going to make the playoffs. That's just in your division.
Yeah, they went 0-6 in the division last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that could very much happen this year. Although I do have them upsetting Detroit once this year. What else do I have? Let me see. I
have them winning. I have them winning one conference or one division game this year.
Yeah, I have them beating Green Bay once and Detroit once, but I think I have Minnesota sweeping them. Yeah, I got Minnesota sweeping them.
Yeah, I only have one
And
win, and that's it.
a little sleeper. I like a Cole Kmet out there. Quarterback's best friend is a tight end, and Cole
He's on the
Kmet can make
same team
that.
last year.
Yeah, but this is his third year. It takes usually 3 to 4 years for a tight end to really learn to.
I don't think it's. I'm not saying you're wrong about Kmet, but
I'm not saying he's going to be an elite
I don't
tight end.
think it's his fault.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
with Robert Tonyan coming in, do you think they run a little bit more two tight ends?
Two tight ends. Yeah. Maybe, but Cole Kmet's the guy.
Not a bad offensive piece to have as far as tight ends go.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good piece, yeah.
So I think we're good with the Bears. You guys got anything you want to add real quick before we jump in to the Packers?
No.
Good.
Okay, so you guys might be a little bit surprised with what I had the Packers going. I got Packers going 10-7. I actually think Aaron Rodgers leaving is actually going to help this team out. I think it's there's no longer walking on eggshells around the facility. You got a young quarterback in Love who showed some promise last year, and I think he's going to end up kind of. You remember how Aaron Rodgers came in and just took a hold of the team and did great. I think I don't necessarily see Love doing exactly that, but I don't see Love doing any worse than what Rodgers did last year. Rodgers really didn't put up that great numbers. I don't think Love is going to do any worse than that. But again, this is another defense in this division that needs to pick it up. They were really good against the pass last year. I think they were sixth, but they again, people could just run on them. So and the offense also was middle of the pack with everything. So I got it right here. Look at, they were middle of the pack in yards, rushing, passing, points. They were anywhere between 14th and 17th in those categories that I just named. So if Love can come in and elevate, maybe bring some fresh mind out here, and no one has to worry about Aaron Rodgers bullshit, I can see the team going 10-7. So what do you guys got them at?
Yeah.
Mike,
I got them at 7-10.
Yeah, let's go with Mike.
I've got them right around 7-10, 8-9.
Okay.
Wow. I got them at 4-13.
Oh
wow.
Whoa. I got them at 7-10.
I don't believe in Love like you guys do. I just don't think he shows promise whatsoever.
I'm just curious, Tony, do you have your paper? Who do you have them winning against?
They beat Atlanta. I have them beating Carolina, Chicago once, and Tampa Bay once. And that's only the reason they beat Tampa Bay is because towards the end of the season it gives Love some he's got some experience under his belt. I just don't think he's experienced enough. But you have 4 games under your belt. Last year you didn't do much. You're coming off of Rodgers, who didn't teach you much because, like you said, you're walking on eggshells. That facility, it was chaos. And now, it's calm in their facility. They're all friends and nobody's fighting each other, and they're not. What's Aaron Rodgers drama going on?
Nobody's meditating.
But I don't believe in Love. He hasn't proved. There's no proof to that. There's no proof in the pudding that he can do anything. He sat behind.
You could literally argue that with every rookie quarterback that comes in.
Exactly, and I don't believe he's going to be as even remotely close to giving them 7 wins.
Okay, well, that's fair to say. I actually have them finishing strong at the end of the year. I
got them winning 4 of their last 5.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
I had 3 of their last 5 wins.
So
Most of their wins come in the end.
I got them going into New York and beating the Giants because I think the Giants season last year was a fluke. I think Barkley is not going to run very hard. He's not on any type of contract. He doesn't want anything to do with this franchise tag. I don't see a big reason for him to run hard. New York doesn't have the greatest of wide receivers.
And at that point, it wouldn't surprise me if New York's already out of playoff contention anyways.
Yeah. I got them beating Tampa Bay at home because it's going to be wintertime. Tampa Bay is going for Florida. They're going to go over to the Green Bay. It's going to be cold as hell. Green Bay is always a hard place to play at the end of the year. I got them beating Carolina. Now I had them losing at Minnesota, and I got them finishing off the year with a win in Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
that's 4 of their last 5.
yeah, if
That's
they can
that's
be,
exact same I have.
yeah, so if they can be hovering around 500, which I have them roughly doing for most of the year, and they finish the season like that, they could easily finish 10-7. But like what Tony said, if this love project does not pan out, man, I mean, they could be in trouble. But they did draft a couple of weapons for him. You know, you got Musgrove, the tight end out of Oregon State. You got
They took him early too, second round.
Yeah.
wide receiver out of Michigan State. So they are trying to help him out. Christian Watson really picked it up last year. He had a pretty good year. The running game's not bad. I mean, they didn't ball out last year, but they got capable running backs.
Yeah, I think they can carry themselves with their running backs alone.
Yeah,
but they won't win a lot of games with the running backs alone.
No, they won't.
No,
we're gonna run the ball, play action, friendly stuff for Jordan Love to get out the pocket, easy passes, easy completions. So I have them at 7 to 10. It's just,
their hard stretch is going to be coming out of the bye week.
Yeah, no, they
you got at Denver, you're home against the Vikings, home against the Rams, at Pittsburgh, home against the Chargers, at Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then at Kansas City. That's their. I have that pinned as their tough stretch right there.
Yeah, and I got,
and that stretch will make or break their season.
Yeah, and I have them going 500 in that stretch is what I have them going.
I have them losing every single one of those games.
I have them beating out of that stretch. I have them beating only the Rams.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
I got them winning home against Minnesota, home against the Rams, and home against the Chargers.
So the 3 home games.
Yeah. But Kansas City.
Well, Kansas City, yeah.
They're definitely not gonna beat Kansas City. Kansas City is still ridiculously good.
Still a juggernaut.
The only two that I would be on the fence about is Denver and Pittsburgh. The other one, I just don't think they're going to beat them. With Denver, I don't know how this Wilson thing is going to play out. So it could work in their favor with Peyton, but if it does, then they don't beat Denver. But if it doesn't, it could be Denver. So that would give a win. That would, in my opinion, give them a win there.
Yeah, that game could go either way.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh.
Depending on how that happens with Peyton.
It doesn't matter who their quarterback is. Like Pittsburgh's a hard-hitting team, and I don't know if Jordan Love can hold up to a hard-hitting team like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to fall. A lot of this is going to fall on how well Jordan Love plays in hostile environments. That's usually your make or break of how good your quarterback's going to be, is if he can play in places like Pittsburgh, or like, I know they're home against Kansas City, but going to a place like Arrowhead, can you win? And these noisy, really like aggressive fan bases. But I pretty much talked about what I wanted to say about the Packers. I kind of talked a lot about this.
Matt's pretty quiet though. He hasn't said much about them.
I'll let you guys go.
You look like you've been like.
I just think that
Aaron Rodgers is gone.
No, I've been saying Rodgers. I told Scott Rodgers is gone. Even when the whispers were happening in the late 2021 season, before last year. That was just the post Aaron Rodgers era. It's just this offense, I think, is going to run through Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. Like, yeah, Romeo Doubs is there, Jaden Reed's there. They have a lot of weapons, but they're going to pound the rock between the two running backs. Like, the two running backs were graded as PFF's. Aaron Jones was graded as PFF's 6th best running back, and AJ Dillon was number 10. They were the 2 best duo teammates to make the top 10 in PFF's ranking that they have. So, and Aaron Jones, this is his last year. They're going to use him. I think next year he has like an $18 million cap hit. So they're just going to see whatever thread he has on the tire. It's going to run through those two guys, and I see them winning 7 games. They
got no reason to take a big cap hit with him when they got AJ Dillon sitting in the wing.
Exactly, and he's going to.
And they already know what they've been easing AJ Dillon in. They already know what they got in him.
Yeah. So I mean, I like this offense. Just can the defense, keep up, and like Tony said, can Jordan Love be that franchise quarterback that the Packers are hoping for? So we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting team. So we'll see how that goes. But anything else you guys want to add? Because we got the Lions coming up next. This is going to be a good team to talk about right here.
Yeah, I feel like when you go look at the reports for Jordan Love, this is the last comment I'll have on the Packers. When you go and look at the reports for like the 2020 draft with Love, and a lot of the reports were like he's not starting as a rookie. He needs to grow and develop. And I feel like he went into the worst situation to grow and develop under Rodgers. And I just don't think
But
he did enough
that was
growth.
the same way Rodgers
Same thing
developed under
Rodgers did
Favre.
with Favre. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
They're- those veteran quarterbacks look at it as why am I gonna teach this guy? Why am I gonna help this
He's
guy
gonna
who's
take my
here
job.
trying to take my job?
It's not only that, you got to think about when they drafted Love. Like at that time, Green Bay was
Needed weapons.
Was considered a Super Bowl challenging team. Like, and they sat there, and in the first round, everyone was like, they got to go wide out. They got to get. And
Took
they,
too long.
Quarterback.
so of course, like if I'm Rodgers, I'm like, well, fuck this guy. Like,
Yeah,
what a waste of a pick. Like, I plan on being here. Why are you guys doing this? You know what I mean? And personally, that I think that was like when everything really started taking the toll as far as like Aaron Rodgers, like just basically being like, you know what, fuck this organization. Like I've been out here battling for you guys and doing all this, and I asked for just a few simple things, like get me a couple wide receivers, and instead you drafted my replacement years before I'm even ready to leave.
yeah.
You know, so in a sense, I understand where Aaron Rodgers is coming from.
And didn't they trade up to get him? On top of that,
Oh, you know what? That I don't remember. That I do not remember. All I know is that they drafted him. I think it was 27th overall, and there was a couple. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but there was a couple wide receivers that had panned out that were available at that time. So, yeah, I think he totally had he had every reasons to be pissed off. But so
yeah. No, I was right. They did. They traded their number 30 pick in the first round and their 4th round pick to move up 4 spots to get Love.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's even more of a slap.
Yeah, it was, and when I did that, I think everyone does it show the wide receivers drafted after that? Because everyone thought they were moving up to draft a wideout.
Isn't that the year T. Higgins went? And that was the year, right?
I think it was.
2020.
Yeah. So, anything, Mike?
I'm
Better
looking
bet
right now.
that, Mike.
Because if you look, Love, receiver, the next receivers were T. Higgins, Pittman. Pittman went in the
T.
second
Higgins,
round. Yeah,
Was
so,
Higgins right? Higgins right after Love?
Higgins was 5 picks. He was the first pick in the second round. So you have Higgins going to
Wow.
Cincinnati in the first. Yes, they got him in the second round. They got Higgins, and then the next pick right after was Michael Pittman, and then probably 10 picks later you got Laviska Shenault. And so
Ooh, busted, yeah.
you got
Big time busted.
No, you could even keep going. You got KJ Hamler then from Denver.
Chase Claypool, Van Jefferson. Yeah, like there's some good.
Green Bay
wideouts
didn't do
here.
Aaron Rodgers any favors those whole years. They let all that talent at wide receiver go, and then the year he walks, they draft a wide receiver in the 3rd round, who's not bad. He's actually really good. Jaden Reed's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, and then the best receiving weapon they had, they let him go to you guys.
No, Christian.
Well, but
No,
that didn't help Rodgers at all either.
What, Christian Watson?
No.
Oh, Adams.
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 Oh,
Took
never
off.
mind.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about Adams because.
But that's Rodgers' fault. He took the bag over to have his man stay there with them. You know, his boy.
He took that massive contract.
That's his fault.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But all right, guys, moving on to the Lions. Here we go. This is my pick for division winner. Is the Lions. I actually have them tied with Green Bay, but I got them having more division wins. I got the Lions going 10-7. I'm sure Tony is shaking his little fucking head over there. So, Tony, what do you got the Lions going?
I have them going 2-15. I'm just kidding, Scott.
Who fucking invited this? Say it here. Speak that shit to my good ear.
I'm just kidding. I have them going.
Hey,
9
who we got lined up
9
for the
and
next guest next
9
week?
and 8. 9 and 8. I had them repeating last season. I had them repeating what they did last season. I don't think I don't think they bettered. I personally think losing Williams is a big hit, but we'll see how Gibbs pans out for them. So I don't know. I think losing Williams was a big hit for them because
I don't
he
think so.
really showed up. He
I-
really showed up. Got his contract, but he left. Obviously, he did it for the money. But he fucking dominated in touchdowns. Dominated last year in touchdowns. Was 17 touchdowns?
Yeah, it was
That's just
Yeah,
17.
17. Something
like
ridiculous.
that's ridiculous. And he was that's a big touchdown share that they lost. So I don't think Gibbs repeats that. But I mean,
I see they have the same O line. They actually bettered it. They added I want to say a guard or tackle in free agency. It's the same O line returning. I want to say they're ranked like top 5 right now in the offseason going into 2023 for the offensive line. So, and honestly, I think David Montgomery's a better running back than
Swift.
Jamal Williams. Oh, and Swift too. I don't know. I like Swift a lot. You know that third down back that can catch out of the backfield. But I mean, they upgraded over Swift with Gibbs, so I think this run game can get to another level. To be honest with you, because you don't have to take Montgomery off the field. He can stay in on third downs and catch. He used to be a receiver in college, so you have two weapons in the backfield. One's a home run hitter in Gibbs, and one's more of the in between the tackles kind of grinder and could be your goal line back. So I think this run game can even go to even bigger heights this year in 23. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and they were a very well balanced offense last year. They were 4th overall, 380 yards a game. But they had to do that because again, for whatever reason, Detroit cannot get their defense right. They gave up the most. Look, they were 4th. They would put up 380 yards, but they gave up 392 a game on the defense. They had the 3rd worst rush defense. They were freaking terrible against the rush as well. They were bottom 5 in yards, yards a game, rush against, pass throwing, giving up points, all that. Bottom 5. Now they did go out and make a bunch of moves to hopefully to improve.
A lot of defensive signings, yeah. A lot of corners, a lot of safeties, linebacker.
I actually have Detroit winning this division at 11-6.
Hey, Mikey,
so
11-6, yeah.
Here's something to think about. Minnesota actually scored less points than the Lions last year, and gave up the exact same. They both gave up 427. Detroit scored 453. The Vikings scored 424. Where the Vikings won the division was all those one-score games.
Yep.
Would they have, Matt? How many one-score wins? Like 7?
There were 10-1 and one-score games.
Yep.
Minnesota. Yeah.
And I think Detroit actually improves their offense over what they had last year.
We all know what Detroit wants to do. They want to run the ball, play action with Goff, and get it to those explosive wide receivers. When Williams comes back, he's going through that whole suspension with the NFL and the gambling stuff. But I mean, they still have Josh Reynolds. I mean, he's not the greatest, but he can get by. Marvin Jones. I think they drafted Sam Laporta, in the second round. So I mean, they have an offense that I think that can hold up for the first couple of weeks of the season. And I forgot Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra's there too. He's a wide receiver 1, so I think they're still in good shape.
Yeah, and they do end the season. 2 of their last 3 games are against Minnesota. NFL knew what they were doing.
Ooh, I have them splitting those.
Yeah, I do too. I had them losing
really?
and I had them winning at home versus Minnesota. But squeezed in between those 2 games.
Dallas.
They're at Dallas.
I got them losing that one.
Yeah, I got them losing that one as well. Now I have them having a nice little stretch is between weeks 8 and 14. So week 8 they play Vegas. I have them beating Vegas. I just don't think the offense is going to be there in Las Vegas to keep up with Detroit. They go into the bye week 9, which I'm a big fan of, that middle of the season. Yep. And then I got them actually going to the Chargers with 2 weeks to prepare. I think they go in and they beat the Chargers. I got them beating home against Chicago. I have them winning that one. Home in Green Bay. I have them going into New Orleans for a very tough game, and I have them edging out the Saints in a massive shootout. I think that's going to be one of those games where it's like 47-44. and then I got them beating. So to me, that's where I have the Lions winning the division is during that stretch where they win 6 games in a row.
I have them starting off the season actually 6-2 before the bye week. I've got them losing to the Chiefs and losing to the Saints.
Yeah.
But
Now,
even coming out of the bye week, I still have them in their next 6 games going 4-2.
yeah. Now on offense, you know, I think they did pretty good drafting. They went ahead and drafted T.J. Hawkinson's replacement in Laporta at Iowa, and then you know, obviously everyone knows about the Jamar Gibbs you know, draft which can help. Jack Campbell out of Iowa, the inside linebacker, very good. I think he's going to really help. You know, I think he's gonna kind of like
that front,
yeah, he's gonna help with that run game. Yeah, I think he's gonna do great for them. They need some young, good front players.
Well, he better. They moved up for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
do you think they got their franchise quarterback in Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee?
I don't know. It depends on how long they're gonna let Jared Goff play.
Yeah,
They're talking extension with him. That's what's been going around in the articles I've been reading this offseason, that they could be talking extension with Goff this coming year for next year and beyond.
This is the way I see it, Matt. To answer that question, the NFL, okay, it's a business. You got to imagine it as like a company. Okay, so just because you bring in some young guy out of college, right, that is supposed to eventually, you know, take over, you know, a team, you know, inside your company. But the only reason you have that is because you're not sure how long the guy that's in that position is going to stay. Now, if that guy in that position continues to do his job, continues to win, and continues to elevate your team, why would you move on past that for someone that you're just not sure as far as what you have until they get on the field? You might be downgrading at that position. So I think if Jared Goff continues to play the way he plays, you just keep him in there. You play it till he's not.
You had no reason to change.
Yeah. It's just, I hate these quarterback changes just because, you know, oh, well, we drafted this guy, so he's got to play. San Francisco is a great example of that. Yeah, they gave up a lot, you know, for Trey Lance, but Brock Purdy clearly played better than him. You got to give Purdy the chance. It doesn't matter what you gave up to get one guy. If you feel your team is better in the other guy's hands, you have to play that guy. And with the Lions, that's Jared Goff. Jared Goff is going to be the guy. I mean, come on, the guy's won the Super Bowl. He was on some really good Rams teams. I think he's pretty underrated. He started his career kind of on like a so-so note, but I feel like as he's gotten older, he's like 5'1". He's aged.
Yeah. His career turned around with a change of scenery.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like the Lions were under 500 for the past 6 years, and all of a sudden last year Jared Goff brings them up to 9-8. Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, let's give this guy a shot. And I agree. I think he ages like fine wine. I think he's a better version of Derek Carr. I mean, like you said, he is consistent. He can show up, and he's not doing anything wrong. He's just there, and he's doing the right things. And if he gets better, so be it. Don't take him out because you had drafted Hendon Hooker. And it sucks because Hendon Hooker's not bad. He deserves an opportunity, but he might be sitting there a while if Jared Goff decides to age very well. I think he has all the right tools to do that.
Yeah. If Goff takes the Lions to the playoffs, I think you re-sign him. Something simple. Sit them down and be like, hey, we're going to give you maybe a 2 or 3 year deal. You know, and this, we can continue this. And after that, they got to be like, at some point, we do have to see what we have outside of you. So
what do you guys all think of the Jahmyr Gibbs? I mean, we all know they're in the draft. It shocked everybody how they moved up to get Gibbs at 12. A running back that was projected, you know, mid to late first round, and they drafted him top 15 in the NFL draft. So what's your guys' take on the reach? Is it a reach? Is it not a reach in this offense?
I'm going to say not a reach. The only reason is because clearly they see something in Gibbs that they think plug the offense they're trying to run. You remember that's why they drafted Swift. Swift and Gibbs are kind of like the same running.
Yeah. And
I think
I think Swift,
for
he outplayed his time. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think Gibbs comes in and he just takes over what Swift was supposed to be.
Couldn't do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I could see them actually running 2 running back sets this year because both can catch. Think about it. You run those 2 running back sets. Both of them have hands. There's a lot of things you can do with that offense like that. But
I think that guy, he can catch 60 to 80 passes this year. And Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a great. Look at this stat. He had 103 catchable balls in his career in college. He only dropped 2 of them his whole career. Yeah,
some nice hands.
So that's just a bonus weapon out the backfield to get this offense going in a whole different stratosphere. It's just if he can be the Alvin Kamara to this offense. I'm not saying he's gonna be Alvin Kamara, but I'm talking about like hands wise, catching wise in the flat. This offense can open up, and it could be a threat, man.
I think he needs some time to grow, though, and I think
No,
half a season he'll be a lot better.
Back is the one position that you could walk into the NFL and just be ready, and you could just go, because I think the only thing that you really need to really work on coming into the NFL is blitz pickup.
Mm-hmm. And that's why David Montgomery's a perfect pickup for them. He's a really good pass blocker, so I think it works. So, but I know Tony's not a fan of Detroit Lions running back. So,
if you're talking about one being excelling at pass blocking versus the other, and one's better at catching than the other, it's almost comparable to the Zeke and Pollard situation.
Well, no, Montgomery's he's a great pass catcher. Let me get his stats. Let me see.
No, I know he is, but we're talking about like Mike's talking about pass protection.
Oh, okay. Pass protection. I thought you said
pass protection.
My bad.
Phenomenal blocker, picking up blitzes and things like that. Much better than Pollard. It's almost why I was actually a little bit surprised when they just didn't re-sign Zeke to like a much smaller contract and use him in those late game situations where they're down, they're gonna be passing, and they need someone to pick up blitzes. Help maybe double team someone. Chip off the line, whatever you need to do. Mm-hmm. That's Zeke's bread and butter as far as what he can do. So,
I think Gibbs can make an impact on this team, but give him some time to learn the game, learn the team. I think he can make an impact this season. I'm not going to say he's 2 seasons away, 1 season away from being elite. I think he has the opportunity to make an impact. Just give him a few games to grow. I'm thinking half the season, and he'll start making some pretty big impacts in games. But I feel like the Lions, they jumped a little bit early to get him. I think they could have waited a few spots and given up less. But I think if you see who's on the board, I don't think anybody else would have jumped up that early to get Gibbs. I don't think anybody needed a running back that bad. Lions definitely did. But I think they jumped up a little bit too early. I think they could have waited like 4 or 5 picks.
Maybe they got word someone else was looking.
Could have, yeah.
You know how
his dream landing spot for Gibbs. I wish he would have went to Cincinnati. But
okay. So they jumped up to number 12 to get him. Mm-hmm. Right after that, you had Green Bay, you had the Steelers, you had the Jets, you had the Commanders, Patriots. Do you think any of those teams would have taken Gibbs?
Maybe Commanders.
Maybe Washington.
And you just with Bill Belichick, dude. That guy will take a punter in the first round. That guy
he'll take a running back.
I think they actually try to trade the Commanders or trade the Jets. I think they could have waited 3 to 4 spots to get it, but that's where
there would have went Ramondre Stevenson's rocket. That's what Tony talks about. If Jahmyr gives
Ramondre Stevenson to the moon.
All right, guys. With that said, we are moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. Last year's divisional winner at 13-4, like what Matt said. They went 10-1 in 1-score games. They had a few wins that to put it in other words, I mean, they just pulled some wins out of their asses. They could have easily been, you know, a 10-7 team last year, and actually that would have put them as a wild card team, right? At 10-7, that would have put them at a wild card.
No, 10-7, they still would have won the division.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because
they were
Lions 9.
Lions were 9-8.
Yeah. But this year I got them going 8-9. I do not have any faith in the Vikings. I don't think they're that good. I think they are by far the most overrated team in the NFC. And they're lucky I even gave them 8 wins, to be honest.
I have them 7-10, 8-9. I feel that Dalvin Cook is gonna just hurt that offense tremendously.
by
It's not
leaving. Yeah.
a move that has me. Matt, what you got?
Have them at 9-8. I have them
9
game over 500. You know, around that same area.
Yeah, I think I should go like 15 and like 2.
They better than their last season. No, I have them going less at 12-5. I still think they're going to be good, really good.
So you have them winning the division.
And I think I think my opinion, now that I'm thinking about it holistically, I think my own opinion is biased when I write this and look.
Because you have
I started watching that
No.
stupid show on Netflix, the quarterbacks, with Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Mariota, and man, Kirk's a good guy.
You like that?
And so
No.
I feel like
You like that?
I feel like watching what happened because you watched the whole interaction between Kirk and the team, the whole season, and I think that it gets better. I don't necessarily think they win more because of it, but like you said, they have a lot of games where they're only winning by 7 points, or within 7 points. But I feel like they're still good. They still have Justin Jefferson, who puts over 1,800 yards. And I just don't think they get worse. Alexander Madison's not bad. Yeah, Dalvin Cook leaving is a big hole, but Alexander Madison's not bad.
No. So Tony,
I don't think he's going to hold up.
But Madison can't carry that workload that Cook did.
Now, me and Matt talked about this. Madison, for the last few years, right, when he's come in and played, if Dalvin Cook's missed a game or two, he's been great in those 2 games. Matt, what was it? Was it 2020 or 2021? Where
2020.
He had
2020 when Cook was hurt.
Yeah, dude. Look at how he started and look how he finished.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he needs to be Dalvin Cook. I'm saying that he's a good enough back to get them where they need to be, and that's it. Because you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and T.J. Hawkinson, who now has
Addison shit. Everyone knows USC wide receivers do not pan out in the NFL.
Fucking fight on, bitch.
That's why Tony has them with 12 wins. They drafted 2 USC guys, Mekhi Blackman, a corner, and then
by the way,
Addison over there. So he's
the report on Blackman is he does get a lot of holding calls. He's a very handsy corner.
Oh yeah, but I don't expect him to be like
they drafted him
that big of an impact in the first year.
Starter.
Yeah, no, I think Jordan Addison is going to be really good. I think that's a real good. It's going to be a good dynamic duo is what I'll call them. But I think Hawkinson is my biggest improvement from last year. He has a second season now where he's going to be working with Cousins to build a rapport. And Hawkinson's good. He's good. He always has been. And now he has.
They still have Irv Smith.
And they still have Irv Smith.
Irv Smith's going to be overshadowed by Hawkinson by far.
Yeah, but now you have 2 great tight ends. So I think your Kirk Cousins can make it happen. He's never going to be that Super Bowl winning quarterback, but I don't think he's not bad. Look, he's been in the playoffs every time. He just loses.
Now, they do have some pretty tough games on the schedule. I mean, they're playing Philadelphia, they're playing Kansas City, they play San Francisco, they played New Orleans. They play Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
and
you're naming all the games that I have them losing.
So basically, you got them beating. You got them beating Tampa Bay. You got them beating the Chargers.
Yeah, they beat Tampa Bay. I have them beating the Chargers, and I have the same thing as you in the end of the season with the Lions. They beat the Lions once, lose to the Lions once.
Yeah, see, I have them. You know, going pretty.
And they have a late season bye. It's week 13.
Yeah, where I have them losing is the beginning of the year. I got them actually starting
3 straight losses.
I got them going 3-6 to start the year.
Really?
Yep, I have them 3-6. I got them losing to Philly, the Chargers, the Kansas City, the San Francisco, at Green Bay, and at Atlanta. The Atlanta
losing
is
to Atlanta.
Yep, I do. Look, Atlanta's not good. Look, Atlanta, like what we talked about, Atlanta is
They have a
gonna be
good defense.
offensively, okay? But if I had to pick between Atlanta's defense and Minnesota's defense to make a stop, I'm picking Atlanta's defense.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, those one, if they went 5-5 last year, in those one score games, which most teams do, you don't see teams fucking going 10-1. You don't even see teams normally 11. You know what I mean? Like, shit, dude. That gives them right there 9 losses last year. They go 8-9 last year. If they went 500 in those one score games, which is typical. So,
but they didn't.
It comes back to the means.
No, I know.
They didn't. Like they did it. Like they.
It's gonna come.
I liked watching the
didn't.
Vikings last. Yeah, I liked watching the Vikings last season because they played so well to win those games.
But that's not going to continue. It's going to come back to the means. I think, like Scott said, like to where they go 500 in those one score games. I don't think it's going to stay at 10-1 or what 9-2. That's too much of a sticky stat, and they're gonna fade back to the means on those one score games to me this coming year. And the defense did get any better in the offseason. Lost a lot of pieces.
The defense actually got worse. They lost two main losses: Eric Kendricks and Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, and now you're asking Kirk Cousins to throw the ball. They threw the ball the third most in the NFL. Was like 645 pass attempts. It was the third most. That's what Kevin Connell likes to do. That's his MO. But I mean, I know you got the weapons to do it, but is that defense going to be able to to shut people down? I don't think so. It's not. I don't know. I maybe need to sit down and relook at it. For the 9 wins, they could be 8-9 instead of 9-8. So
yeah, and another thing too is all the talk, coming out of Minnesota, that if Cousins does not produce a deep playoff run this year, he's
gone,
out of a job.
And so that in and of itself, to me pushes Cousins to still another level. He knows that. He knows that.
No,
so he has to play well. Or he's out.
I don't know.
What is Kirk Cousins' downfall? What does he not?
How many primetime games do they have?
Yeah, when it comes to the big game, he doesn't. That's been Kirk Cousins' whole career. This guy can numbers all through the season, but when it's like those primetime, big time games, I don't know where Kirk Cousins goes. Like, I don't know. He takes the games off. Fuck, I don't know. You want if Minnesota had all primetime games, I wouldn't be surprised if he went fucking 2-15. It's just there's just something about it. So even if they do win the division and make the playoffs, I got them a first round.
They're getting bounced first, though.
Yeah,
and that's not enough to stay for Kirk Cousins.
So, but okay, now if Kirk Cousins exits, what is their next move? Okay, I know we're talking about down the road, but do you see them blowing this whole thing up? And are they going to go? Yeah, you see,
they trade for a quarterback
trade for Trey Lance.
They trade for what the fuck? they trade for
Lance.
Why?
Why
do you guys? Yeah. No way.
If Brock Purdy pans out, Lance is gone. They're not. At least if they're like a fucking decent,
Well, yeah, I know that. We know that, but you think Minnesota would envision him as their future quarterback? Because if you're doing that, then you're picturing as Trey Lance is to be your franchise guy and not go into the draft to draft a quarterback unless you double dip and go into the draft for 2024 and get a quarterback if Kirk Cousins is gone also.
Here's my thing. I don't think San Francisco is going to ask for a lot in return for him. He's going to be easy to get. I think,
but if you get Trey Lance, then you're blowing it up.
Like, you're not blowing it up. It's not like Trey Lance isn't sitting there fucking learning from one of the best offensive minds in football. Trey Lance has the talent. It's just been unfortunate incidences for him. That's all. Like last year, Brock Purdy came out of nowhere. Like Trey Lance last year could have started the whole season had he not gotten hurt. It was really unfortunate, and I was really disappointed to see because I really wanted to see Trey Lance succeed. But I think if I'm the Vikings and I'm looking for a guy that can air it out a little bit, and also be mobile, then I would look at them. That's the one thing that I think that has hurt the Vikings is Kirk Cousins can't fucking move out of the pocket. Once there's pressure on him, like he's going down. So maybe if they can get that quarterback that can move out of the pocket, give Justin Jefferson that extra 1 or 2 seconds to get open, it could help the offense. And he's got a safety blanket in TJ Hawkinson. And Tony, like what you said, if Addison does end up panning out, it's very easy for a young quarterback to go in there and be successful.
Yeah, I think Addison, like Tony, I'm with Tony on Addison. I like the fact that he can go in there and not be the guy. We all know who the guy is. It's JJ. That guy. We don't even need to talk about his greatness. That guy's great.
But JJ, okay, but JJ was still the guy last year. Dalvin Cook took a lot of that back share workload.
Yeah, but Cook wasn't.
Is Madison going to be able to hold up to the touches?
They were a bottom 5 rushing team last year.
They did. They ran the ball like 35% of the time. They threw the ball 65% of the time. It wasn't. Dalvin Cook wasn't himself last year, and he didn't even get involved in the passing game. So it was more just Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson in that passing game, realistically. Because I mean, Adam Thielen was there, but he didn't do shit. He did nothing at all. So
yeah,
I think this is what
good luck with him in Carolina.
This is what Thielen did. He was top 10 in yards per target, top 10 in yards for yards per route ran, and he had 107 targets, and he only finished with 700 yards. If you give that to Jordan Addison and then some, and he's going to be single coverage all day in the slot with Justin Jefferson getting the tension outside with the double team. So if you give him what Adam Thielen had, I think he can get easy 1,000 to 1,200 yards rookie year.
Now, so you're saying is that the USC curse is going to be broken with Addison?
Well, I mean, we're all saying Brown was at USC. I mean,
yeah, that's one guy out of how many? Like, remember?
Yeah, that's true. I remember the old Mike Williams.
And 1 year.
No, remember Blackman too? Going to the Jaguars, he was supposed to be like big time.
I don't know.
No. Yes.
No, Blackman wasn't supposed to be.
Blackman wasn't at USC. Was he? Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, but he wasn't considered like this first round, second round dominant wide receiver.
We've had receivers. Steve Smith
drafted.
Look.
Let me see.
But still going in on this is just not a lot of USC. Wide receivers for whatever reason, they don't pan out in the NFL for whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, where they're drafted. I mean, we had Drake London last year. I mean, he looks pretty decent. The old Steve Smith. He panned out with the Giants. He got a Super Bowl. He's not a bad receiver. Slot Juju.
I am not a fan of Juju. I think Juju is fucking ass. He
is
one good year.
Yeah.
He had that one good year.
We've had a lot of
that horse to a fucking.
We've had a lot of decent wide receiver. Robert Woods, Marquise Lee. I mean, they're not the greatest, but they stick around. But I think Addison can be a good wide receiver too. And this offense.
I think Addison exactly. I think Addison could be a great wide receiver given the attention that goes towards JJ. It's the same situation with Juju. Juju's ass, but he was great because all the attention was on Brown at the time. So it made Juju shine, and I think Addison is primed in this same position to do that.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, isn't Minnesota's salary cap situation a little ass right now too? Aren't they hurting on? They're usually pretty good with cats, but
for next year they have 18 million in cap space. For next year,
get rid of Cousins. That's gonna open things up. But I think. All right, what do you think?
This is what happens. They get Cousins to go. Tom Brady comes out of retirement and takes him to the Super Bowl. Which he should have done for the Raiders.
Nah, fuck the Raiders, dude. Ain't no one. Tom Brady is not. You would need Tom Brady of like.
Well, he's technically our owner now, part owner. Fucking bitch.
But
He's owned you guys since the tuck roll.
yeah.
The thing that's going to help Addison is that he's a really great route runner. That's what I look more at. If he can beat off the line press coverage, zone coverage, sit down that zone, he'll be just fine to pair with Justin Jefferson in that offense. I really like Addison this year.
Well,
For fantasy.
Come fantasy football time.
Oh, I'll draft him. If you guys let him fall, I'll draft him.
Yeah, I'll fucking let.
Well, you got that number one pick. Why don't you take him?
He's going like in the 8th, 7th, 8th round. I mean, he's not like he's a high end pick. That's a wide receiver 3 right there. If you can get a wide receiver 2 at a wide receiver 3 value, I'll take that all day. All day.
You want to do a trade for a player to be named?
Yeah.
That's another story for another podcast if we had it.
Oh yeah. No. When we do the fantasy football podcast, that's the first thing we're gonna fucking talk about.
Go for it, and I will explain that 30-minute conversation I had with Matt, and I will explain my position, and I guarantee the internet will explode.
Yeah, I heard you were about to be Antonio Brown with his tantrum out the Jets in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, one thing we should talk about before we get off, because we didn't get a chance to touch on this because it happened between things, but Hopkins signing with Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
All he was talking about was, I want to go to a contender. I want to do this.
Fucking lying at his ass.
Chased the bag. He chased the bag.
Well, we'll give you possible $30 million over 2 years. He said, "Where do I sign, bitch?"
Yes. Well, I mean, I think because we just talked about this last weekend, and all of us were like, it's not going to happen. Like, he'd be dumb to do it, and he fucking did it. But you know what? I think reality hit him. His age, and
nobody was calling him
31.
No contending.
He was trying to get other teams to bid.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I know no contending team was going to offer him what the Titans offered him, and he's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm just taking the money. At that point, you're at your age. Same thing's going to happen to him. Will happen to Julio Jones.
Would they give him 2 years, $30 million?
No, it's
26.
2 years,
yes. With incentives, it could be a $30 million contract.
Yeah, the incentive, and I didn't read into what the incentive is, but I heard that they're not. It doesn't sound like they're going to be too hard for him to hit them.
No.
Depend on Tannehill.
Yeah, who's the quarterback?
Yeah.
Tannehill or Will Levis.
Or
and it's funny that he signed with Tennessee, because I had proposed that he should maybe look into the Colts. They're basically probably one wide receiver, from being a very, very good offense.
I even said earlier the Lions, man. If they had got Hopkins to go with Brown, and
you forget about it.
Oh, if Hopkins went to the Lions, my thing would be 100% different.
I don't know. Stop that offense, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would dominate the offense.
Like, how do you stop them?
Yeah,
they could be an offense that could put up on average like 450 yards a game. I would not put it past them.
To be honest, I thought Kansas City was going to take a run. I saw him. It was on social media on his Twitter. He was having dinner with Chris Jones, the D lineman from Kansas City, and Chris Jones tagged him, at Mahomes, whatever. We got to get this guy in here, whatever, and it never came to fruition. To see him in Kansas City.
Hey, Patrick, man, this guy just wants the bag. This guy's.
I want to know what happened.
A lot of people are talking a bunch of crap too about what the Titans did. Titans shipped away.
AJ Brown.
Was it AJ Brown?
AJ Brown for Treylon
and
Burks.
now they got another 5 or 6 year old version of him.
Yeah, basically.
Instead of rebuilding, they're retooling. I guess they Mike Vrabel thinks he can get that team to win this year. So
they're not going to buy Jackson. Fuck who they sign.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who they sign. I still have the Titans going 7-10.
Yeah, I don't think this. It obviously improves their offense. Is going to help them some, and I just don't. It comes down to, for me. It's not so much, who's out there. It comes down to quarterback play, and coming out of the AFC, where you have arguably all the best quarterbacks are playing in the AFC, and
that's a murder's row
for the weaker teams, just overall. And on top of that, you probably have a bottom 5 quarterback out of the AFC. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter that you sign Hopkins. You're still not going to.
It doesn't matter which quarterback you have in there either. It's going to be a bottom 5.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you got? You got anything you guys want to add this week?
pretty been slow. I think the Hopkins signing was the big. I sat up in my seat when I saw that on my phone.
Well,
I called Mike
the
within
other-
like 5 minutes, and I was like, "Did you
Yeah.
just see what fucking happened?"
Dude, I saw you when I was at work. It's like the one play he said wasn't gonna go, and I was like, "Well, Hopkins signed. Where the fuck did he go?" And then I looked it up.
the other thing is the running back's not getting any
yeah.
long-term deals.
Oh yeah, the franchise tag. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Barkley, Jacobs, and who's the other one? Is it Pollard that they were saying?
Pollard
Look,
signed, but
didn't-
he
without
didn't get an
getting
Didn't get a
too
deal.
far into this, this is what I'm gonna say about this. Barkley has injury history. Okay, all of a sudden he stays healthy when his contract year. Josh Jacobs, fucking.
Well, he was nicked up last year a little bit.
Dude, Josh Jacobs last year, everyone's talking about how I see all these fucking Raider fans being
He had a career year.
is the best fucking running back in the NFL, blah, blah, blah. I'll have you know it took his best year to average what Derrick Henry has done his entire career. Okay? And he's only done it 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't all of a sudden, you're not average for 3 years, have one good year and be like, oh, well, pay me. Like, that's not the way it works. If I'm the Raiders, I would have done exactly that. I would be like, show me that you can do it 2 years in a row,
Yeah.
and maybe we could talk contract.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, he has not been the main focus in Dallas yet. You still don't know if he can continue through a 17-week season. So I'm not going to sign him till he can prove it. So like with these running backs, like I understand that they want to get paid. I think the running back position is probably one of the most underappreciated positions in football. You get hit the most, out of anyone.
Yeah.
You're also very, very, you have to protect your quarterback on passing situations. Otherwise you're going to get his bell rung. But at the same time, they're not paid like a quarterback, you know what I mean? Or even a wide receiver or anything like that.
Or even a tight end, yeah.
I mean, think about it like this. Your third string running back has an opportunity to carry the ball as many times as your number one wide receiver might catch the ball. So it's a little unfair, but unfortunately, running backs.
It's broken.
No,
it's to be honest, the pay thing is.
Well,
it's broken.
look at the production per touch though.
Yeah, no.
Take a number one receiver versus your number three running back.
Okay, what about
they both touch the ball? Say they both touch the ball 7 times. That receiver is going to get much more production than the 7 times that the running back is going to rush the ball.
Yeah, but go ask that third wide receiver to pass block on third down.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the flip side of it.
Yeah.
Who is protecting your franchise quarterback, who is the focal point of your offense?
Yeah. I know Samuel how it feels to be a wide receiver running the football. Why he wanted more money, because he's getting beat up. He even said it's going to shorten my career. But that's the other thing about running backs is that you have to be careful about how you pay them, because out of all positions, they're probably the position that
they have the shortest career.
Yeah,
shortest lifespan.
Look at all the last few years. Look at all the ACL that have gone out in running backs, and all these young running backs coming into the NFL. Now, when you look at who misses more games between wide receivers and running backs, is going to be the running back position is going to miss more games, but again, because they are the piece of the team that's going to get beat up constantly. So, like, I see the pros and cons to it, but unfortunately, because you really are probably only going to get 4 to 5, really,
maybe 5,
and that's if they have a great career.
Yeah, I
half these running backs.
You're going to get one
second contract.
You're going to get one contract after your rookie contract.
Yep, most likely. And I think I agree with everything you just said, Scott. That the running back position is underappreciated, and they do deserve more money. But at the same time, you can't demand more money when you only have one career year. It just doesn't. To me, it doesn't work that way. You got to at least have 2 under your belt to say you're elite, right? Because what happens more often than not is they get paid. People, I don't know why these teams overpay them for having one career year, and then they just take a dump. They're like, I'm going to cruise. I'm not going to sacrifice myself. I'm paid now. That's why they're trying to get all this guaranteed money.
But I will say this about Barkley, Pollard, and Jacobs is the quarterback situation, okay? So Jacobs has a career year. They let Carr go, and they sign a quarterback who never stays healthy in Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, Pollard's over here playing with Dak Prescott, who everyone says, well, he's a top 10 quarterback. The dude threw threw 15. He averaged an interception a game last year.
He said this year he promises to throw 10 or less.
Less than 10.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Well, he needs to learn how to read a defense if he's going to do that shit. And then with Barkley, I think them signing Daniel Jones to that contract that they signed him to was kind of a slap in the face because
Well, okay, here going on your deal, you're talking about the running backs wanting a career and then getting paid. Didn't Daniel Jones have a career year?
Yeah,
and they paid him, which they should not.
And then they paid him.
No,
They paid him over Barkley.
Exactly, and they should. That was like
that was a slap in the face.
stupid mistake.
I probably would have. What I probably would have done is I probably would have actually franchise tagged Daniel Jones and tried to sign Barkley to probably not a long-term contract, but I would have given him a 3-year contract at maybe like around like 24 million. I think he's about like an $8 to $9 million. And the reason I wouldn't invest too much in Barkley is because he has had injury problems since coming into the NFL.
Supposedly Barkley was offered 14 a year before the deadline yesterday.
If
I saw 11,
he would have taken.
He would have taken it. I saw 11.
That's
that they're short 2 million, 2-3 million.
Yeah.
So he was looking for like 14, I think.
Yeah.
And
Mike, he was looking for 14.
And you know what? Well, okay. So, and I know I was reading this a lot, and I don't know. Do you think that Jacobs and Barkley play? I think Pollard is going to play for sure. I haven't heard any bad blood between him and the Cowboys. You know, the Cowboys are. I think he plays. But do you think Barkley or Jacobs hold out, given the whole Le'Veon Bell situation where he did hold out and he kind of just went completely downhill? Do you think they're thinking about those things?
Yeah, I think Barkley, the way he's been like tweeting and shit, I think he holds out to week 1, at least 1 week. That's what I'm thinking. Or he holds up right up to the deadline to show up week 1. That before the season starts, he shows up then and there, right before that Sunday. But if not, I think he holds out at least one or 2 weeks and then comes back, because you do know after you hold out one game costs like 500-something thousand to pay. You got to pay that. So that's going to start taking a hit in your pocket.
Here's the thing.
Do that.
With the Giants, they need Barkley to compete.
Bro,
okay?
I'm looking right now. The offense, 56% of the offense ran through Barkley last year.
Yep. But with Jacobs, I don't think it matters if Jacobs on the field or not. The Raiders aren't going anywhere. They're not expected to make the playoffs. So I think if you're talking about who's going to hold out between, Barkley and Jacobs, it would be Barkley, because I think he has a little bit more of a say-so. Mm-hmm. Jacobs just was like, well, I did great last year. And they're going to be like, wow, we didn't win shit. So obviously your years aren't going to matter. Like, we can just go and get whoever, and we're going to be the same offense.
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders pay him whatsoever, only because it's a Patriots team. They don't pay running backs.
The other thing I hate about the franchise tag is that they can get you 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I don't like.
Now that second year costs an arm and a leg. I don't think you should be able to franchise that player 2 years in a row.
I think it's 3. Let me see.
I think the franchise tag, I understand it, but at the same time, it's business. And if a player wants to go and test free agency because he can't come up with a contract with you guys, then they should be allowed to walk at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
just like baseball.
Yeah. Because here's my problem is that you can cut a guy at any time you want. You could just flat out cut a guy and be like, we don't want you no more. Bye. You know what I mean? But then when it's the other way around, when the player's like, well, I want to get paid, we don't really want to pay you what you want. And they're like, well, okay, well, let me go see what else is out there. They're like, oh, no, what we're going to do is we're just going to franchise tag you and force you to stay here. And then another thing, that puts players in position that they may not want to be in anymore. They just may not even want to be on that team. But if they franchise tag them, why
not be able to franchise tag them, and you have a deadline to sign them, and if you don't sign them by that date, like for instance yesterday, then that player is a free agent, unrestricted.
That should be the third time, because they can franchise tag a player up to 3 times. You just got to pay that percentage of the.
Well, no, I don't think it should. I disagree there, Matt, because I don't think it should be the third time. Because imagine doing that to a running back for 3 times. Yeah. His career is over by the third time.
Yeah, but you got to remember, every time you franchise him, it goes up by, I want to say, like 20-25% of that player's salary.
Money in a franchise tag either.
The franchise tag, if Barkley gets franchised next year, it's $16 million. Yeah. After that, the third year is like $23 million.
All right, look at this, Matt. It goes down.
It goes up.
Is it full? Is that fully guaranteed?
No,
yes.
There's
unless he gets hurt.
If he gets hurt,
If he gets hurt, it's not guaranteed. If he stays healthy the whole year or whatever, he misses a game or two, it's fine.
Yeah, but you're talking about the game of fucking football.
You have to gamble on
very
yourself.
rare
That's
people
what I'm
stay
saying.
healthy.
Running backs don't want to gamble. That's why they don't want to sign. They don't want to gamble
No
on themselves
way.
to stay healthy.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, and I think it's unfair. The franchise tag, I understand it, but at the same time, I do think it is a little unfair. I think if you franchise tag someone, there should be some type of money incentive in there to where, like, okay, if you play if you play in X amount of games, the contract is guaranteed. If you go down week 1, it should be just like any other contract where, like, okay,
well, see, that's the Patriots do that. Bill Belichick structures all his contracts like that. Tom Brady, fucking Gronk, they all played on contracts like that. Why do you think they were so elite for so long? Because they were playing for money. People don't do that anymore. They give these players too much power, which I hate saying that, because they deserve that power because they're playing the game and they need to stand up for their own worth. But at the same time, some of these players just want to get paid and then sit on the couch for the rest of the fucking career, which is like, no, man, we want to watch the game of football, not fucking watch you get paid and then never fucking do anything again.
Yeah, this is why I like smaller base contracts with big incentives. You know, give these guys a reason to go out there and
exactly.
You produce, you get paid.
Yeah. Exactly. Bottom line, that's like every job in the fucking world. You produce, you get paid, and if you produce well, you get paid well.
Yep.
No, unless you're mad.
I agree with that. Oh, and then also another thing, and you could argue this for quarterbacks as well, but if you are a running back, you also are almost, if you are played behind a shitty offensive line, it's so hard for you to produce if they can't run block worth the shit. You know, now with some of these quarterbacks, like if you're a quarterback that can escape the pocket, you know, it's if your offensive line isn't like the greatest and sometimes you're under pressure, you can escape that. But if you're a running back trying to hit a hole and the hole is never
that's not there,
like, you know what I mean? You're just getting hit over and over for no reason. You know, and then you have to also think about it like this: if you're on a shitty team that's constantly down, you know, you're not going to get as many touches, you know, or as many opportunities to run the ball.
You're in there for pass protection.
Yeah, and that can also hurt your stats, which in turn can hurt the contract that you can get later on. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Just going back with how running backs are paid, underappreciated. I would say definitely underpaid. I don't think wide receivers should be getting paid what they get paid. Like this 20 plus $1 million a year to be a wide receiver, I think is absolute bullshit. And
the contracts are backwards for those two positions.
I 100% agree with that.
I don't know about backwards, but they should,
because the NFL is a passing league. Yeah.
I think wide receivers should be around maybe 16 million. And running back should be able to be paid around 13, 14 million on average normally. And that's going to kind of, you know, I guess bring it kind of like level because they're both just equally as important to an offense. I mean, but then you have like Joe Mixon. How didn't he just take? He took what?
He took a cut.
4 million, right? Isn't that what they took off per year?
$4
million.
Like that. So he's there for the next 2 years. If you look at the contract, it's friendly, no?
Yeah, and I don't know if he did it just because they came to him and said, hey, you know, we need to extend some other guys if we want to stay good. Like, are you willing to take it? But I don't know why you would really take it off of your running back when they already only make like $8 or $9 million in the first place.
He was set to make 12 this year.
No, okay, here it is right here. Mixon took $4.39 million less this year, $4.67 million less next year.
What's he making?
His base salary this year is now 5.51, which is down from roughly 9.4 million.
So I'm saying
there are incentives that could earn him two more million per year.
But think about it. He's getting paid $5 million. Tony, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
But think about it. He's going to get paid $5 million this year. I bet you he touches the ball as much as the 3 starting wide receivers combined. Because you got to think he can rush and he can pack, or he can rush and he can catch. He's a 20
he touched the ball as much as Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, he's a 20 to 25 touch running back.
He's somebody. Joe Mixon is. I bet you his agent talked to him too, and he's just like, "Well, you got to do this." Well, the shit that's going on in the off season, and
Not a kid, $4 million.
You shot a kid. You got to take the pay cut, bro.
Yeah,
you got to come back. And also I think he wants to win with this team. I think he wants.
He's in a good spot.
So Joe Mixon's
why
contract,
leave there and go to another team?
The cap hit potentially is 4.5 or 8.5 million. So if you take that 4.5 he took off, it would have been 12, because it's a signing bonus of 2, roster bonus of, he's gonna make the roster, 4.1 million. A workout bonus of 200K, restructure of 750, and the cap hits 8.4 million. So if he didn't take that $4 million, it would have been $12 million cap hit this year. So it's potential 8.4.
Yeah,
still a lot.
It's weird because when you think about it, like think about wide receivers that are paid at $8 million. You're talking about the guy that's fucking third string. You can paid as much as running back. You know?
Yeah.
So, but
the CBA is going up. That the money that the NFL is making off this fantasy football stuff and then player likeness, it's going up. So I mean, the contracts have to go up with it also as well. So
yeah, but it's going to quarterbacks
and wide receivers.
Yeah, well, when they keep signing these quarterbacks to like these ridiculous freaking
fucking ridiculous.
It's like, calm the fuck down. Now, I understand if you're like Patrick Mahomes and you're leading your team to Super Bowl victories, yeah, pay the man. But then, I hate
Daniel Jones.
He's earned it. At that point, he's earned it.
Like Daniel Jones wanted 45 this offseason. Remember that shit? Holy moly.
The quarterbacks are the prime example of why I think some players have too much power. Like, I can't believe Daniel Jones would even openly say what he said.
Imagine him telling you, you're the owner of the Giants. He comes to you, he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for $45 million a year." What do you say at that moment at the table?
Looks like I'm drafting another quarterback. Like, damn, dude. The disrespect.
I'm like, looks like we're signing Ryan Tannehill. So
fucking call Eli Manning.
And I don't think the Giants make the playoffs this year either.
Nope.
Oh, save that for we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that's another division.
Well, I'm just talking about Daniel Jones. He ain't leading them nowhere. So, but with that said, I think we're pretty good. I mean, we're an hour and 22 into this bad boy.
We went.
I think that little freestyle kind of just took off there for the last 20 minutes, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But all right, guys. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed everything. Hope you guys all disagree with everything Tony says. And with that said, we're gonna see you next week for week 4.
What division is it next week?
NFC East.
NFC East.
Oh, there you go. Oh. There you go. You get to talk about Daniel Jones.
You better bring a Cowboy fan on.
Oh.
Hey, you guys won't bring Fern on and say some dumb shit.
Keep them in the back room where they can't even talk. They gotta just listen to his shit.
Let's get him mad. Let's bring him on and let's get him mad. I want him to freaking leave mid video, mid live. Let's do it live.
Hell yeah.
Nah, I love you, brother.
Nah, fuck. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, see you guys next week.
See you next week.
You guys.
Should be fun, but
peace.
Yeah, see everyone next week.